Now, Doc, can you just give us a little background on how December 16th came to be celebrated yearly as a day of reconciliation? What's the significance of December 16th for South Africans?
Right. Well, I mean, historically, December 16th was really, African way of celebrating and commemorating their decisive victory against, blacks that they had fought in 1838. So this was early 19th century, and the Afrikaners, went on this, what they call it, the Great Trek, to find their own colony in the interior of South Africa when they ran away from the Cape Colony. And en route, they fought, black people, Zulu people on the way. And so on this particular day, December 16th, they fought against, the Zulus, King Dingane at the time, and they triumphed. And so, and to commemorate that day, they named December 16th Dingane Day, and they later changed that name to the Day of Covenant, because Afrikaners were also very religious at the time, particularly the Afrikaners who undertook this great trek, and so they believed that they had established a covenant with God, who had guided them, throughout this great trek, and who had helped them, triumph against black people, and so they, they chose this particular day to commemorate, those struggles and those victories against black people. However, in 1994, after apartheid was ended formally, December 16th was changed into this day of reconciliation, and so that's where we are at the moment.
Okay. Now, President Ramaphosa alluded to progress made in race relations in South Africa, as well as obstacles that are still persisting. So what is your take on that?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, South Africa is really struggling with race issues, right? Because this is one, issue that we've never really honestly tackled and talked about and addressed. And so it's always just lingering. It's always in the background, because South Africa, has struggled and has known white racism for over 3 centuries. And so you can't get rid of that in 20 years, particularly when white people in the country do not think, this is the problem, particularly when white people think, racism died in 1994. And so white people are very reluctant, to engage in any conversation, that aims to address this particular topic. And as a result, racism and racist incidents, tend to happen, and tend to get reported, by the media from time to time. But like I said, racism is always in the background in South Africa. It has never gone away. He has never died. And so when the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, says that racism is not as toxic as some people imagine, well, I would like to disagree with that. I do not think that the president is being really forthcoming, when it comes to to this particular topic.
So, in your opinion, what needs to happen in South Africa for there to be real and lasting reconciliation? I'm guessing that's what the world would love to see.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, solving racism, there's no formula, right? I mean, if there was a formula, I guess America would have solved this long time ago. And, they've been a democratic country, long before we were a democratic country, and they're still struggling with it. However, the first step, to resolving this issue is actually having honest, discussions, is actually having uncomfortable conversations. And we're not prepared to do that in South Africa. I mean, take, for example, the latest incident of racism. There was so-called, whites-only matric party or matric dance that happened at a particular school in Cape Town, where only white students were invited and black students were not invited, and this issue was not properly discussed, was not properly investigated. The school and white people in Cape Town quickly said there was no racism. This was just a private function, and so on and so forth. So there's no honesty in this discussion. The point being, the first step is to honestly engage with the problem and honestly, have a conversation, about these issues.
All right, Dr. Mandisi, we appreciate the works that you're doing. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right.